Welcome to the Configure Price Quote podcast. My name is Frank Sohn and I'm the founder of No CPQ Consulting. This podcast is 100% focused on Configure Price Quote, also known as CPQ, and will provide you useful insights into this topic. My guest today is Sandeep Jain, CEO and co-founder of MonetizeNow, a CPQ and billing solution. Sandeep has over 20 years of business experience and was with companies like Juniper Networks, Cisco, and Palo Alto Networks before he founded MonetizeNow. He lives with his family in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome, Sandeep, to the CPQ podcast.
Hey, Frank. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Excited to be here.
Very excited to have you. Sandeep, let's maybe start by telling our listeners a little bit more about yourself and what you did before you founded MonetizeNow. I think that was last year.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I was born and raised in India a long time ago. I came to the US in early 2000s, bachelor's and master's in computer science. My career has been kind of an oddball. I say that because I worked for companies in different sectors and different roles. Like I started in engineering at Juniper Networks, about 8 to 10 years there. Then next 8 years, I was at Cisco and Palo Alto Networks in security, in product management. And then I decided to take a left curve, so to speak, and do a business development sales role at InMobi, which is a consumer space and not enterprise. And then I also did a startup, as it so happens in podcast distribution space. We ended up pivoting to kids podcasts. And so that's what I did before I came to MonetizeNow, which is in CPQ and billing space.
Well, that's a very interesting, diverse background. So, but one question I have to ask, since I'm an immigrant myself, right? So what drove you initially to come to the US? What was the most interesting thing for you when you came?
So this was in the late 90s and early 2000s, and I went to a engineering institute called IIT back in India, and it was kind of fashionable for people graduating from there to go to the States to do masters. I personally wanted to experience a different culture and do higher studies, so that's the reason I came to the US. But yeah.
Very cool. I always enjoy listening to these little stories. But anyway, so let's focus on MonetizeNow and tell us what drove you actually, after all these diverse experiences, to found a billing and CPQ company. What was the main driver from your point of view?
I actually almost did not start MonetizeNow because, as you can see probably from my professional background, I haven't worked in CPQ in the billing space. So I actually started with the goal of building $1 billion enterprise. My goal is to build a company that can earn $1 billion in revenue. So that was my goal. And I was looking at different areas. One of the areas I was looking at was actually customer support, which I think is still pretty bad, at least for B2B. And while exploring that, I was talking to this product person at Zendesk. And she listened to my story. He says, Sandeep, if you really want to build $1 billion business, you should probably fix billing. This is about in 2018, by the way. So kind of a dated conversation. And I was like, why billing? What are you talking about? So she said, look, we are using a product called Zora and Salesforce CPQ. And we are struggling with these things. And these products are not built to understand SaaS. And we have looked around, nothing good exists. And Frank, what struck me about that conversation was that this isn't a path to revenue. And if a company as big as Zendesk is facing this problem, it is likely that other B2B SaaS companies are facing a similar problem. But my only struggle was I didn't understand anything about this space in a way that I could even think about fixing the problem. So what I ended up doing, I ended up going to LinkedIn. I ended up talking to more than 100 people on this topic. Across different sectors. I would say about 90% was tech, then some manufacturing and financial services, then healthcare. And I was talking to IT sales ops, finance ops, rev ops, head of sales, head of finance, and system integrators. And my idea was to understand, why is everybody screaming murder in this space called quote to cash? Like what's the real painful thing? And over these period of conversations is how I actually met my co-founder, Jeff, who was working at Atlassian at that time. And our thesis was, look, the distinction of putting CPQ and billing in two different boxes is why there is a lot of pain in SaaS businesses. So the CPQ and billing distinction actually made sense for the non-SaaS universe. But once the enterprise industry shifted to this SaaS model, then CPQ and billing being separate with two different product catalogs is actually the root cause of the problem. And anyway, so that's how Jeff and I met. I published these findings on a Medium blog, which ended up getting attention of vendors, analysts, and customers. So this was our customer discovery exercise, and this is how MonetizeNow started.
Very interesting story and very ambitious goals here, right? So that's very cool. So when you look at this back, so it started 2018, now it's 22. What's the most interesting or exciting part for you now being in the CPQ and billing space?
Right. So I did the research in 2018, but we didn't end up starting the company. Jeff and I kept on talking about this because it's a big problem, right? I mean, there are companies that do just CPQ, companies that do just billing, and there are now companies that do just usage-based billing. And here is a bunch of guys that said, look, the right way to solve this problem is to do this together. So Jeff and I spent quite a time talking to even more customers, whiteboarding, and we started officially as a company only last year. But the most exciting part for me as part of this space is I don't think in CPQ and billing, innovation has really happened. This is, I think, one of the most unsexy part of enterprise tech. And being able to come to this space and look at this space from a first principles perspective, building a product that makes sense, helping companies make more money and faster, that's what excites me. And in fact, Jeff as well.
Excellent. Hey, I would disagree. I think the area is really sexy. I've been working in it for 25 years. But anyway, so we could argue about that. I definitely agree. But let me ask one more question before we talk about MonetizeNow. And that's, Sandeep, what do you like to do when you don't work?
Oh, well, running a startup is like a 24/7 thing, as you must have heard from other founders as well. But I do have a young family in the sense I have a 3-year-old daughter, 9-year-old son. They are in growing phase of their life. So I love to spend time with them and my wife and a bunch of friends. We like to hang out over the weekends. We love to go for hiking, travel. Personally, I like to do something called long read articles or long form articles. That have nothing to do with technology. I end up reading these long articles on my phone. I'm not a book reader, but I love reading these thought articles. And lastly, I plan to do Ironman someday. I don't know how to swim, by the way, so that's kind of an ambitious goal. So we'll see.
Wow, yeah, but you have these other ambitious goals as well. So there's a pattern here. So, but since you mentioned you like hiking, where are you going hiking?
I live in the Bay Area, so Bay Area affords quite a few places to hike nearby. I have done some kind of weird hiking or more strenuous hiking like Grand Canyon. There is this place in Chile called Torres del Paine that I did with my friend some time back. So I like these oddball hiking places as well.
Oh, wow. Very cool. You also have been to the East Bay. There's Mount Diablo, things like that. You do that on the weekends too?
Yes, Mount Diablo. I have not done that in particular, but yes, it's on the list.
Excellent. Good. So then let's talk a little bit more about MonetizeNow, right? So, and let's maybe start by telling me a little bit more about what product offerings you have.
Absolutely. So as I was saying earlier, the thesis for the company was that the right way to solve the go-to-market problem for SaaS businesses is for CPQ and billing to come together. So we did not start as a company to say, let's build a better CPQ or let's build a better billing system. So our product and our platform is an integrated quoting and billing platform. We consider usage as an artifact of billing. So we do usage inherently. I know there are some standalone usage products as well, but we consider this as part of the platform. Our early customers, they sometimes use the entire offering if they are a little earlier in their journey and they don't have a billing system or a quoting system. The customers who are a little ahead in their journey, let's say a Series B or a C company, they usually have a billing system in place. For quoting, they use probably a Google Docs or an Excel sheet. So they start us using as a CPQ system, but they eventually move their billing system to us as well.
Excellent. What kind of customers do you focus on?
Right. So our customers are high growth B2B SaaS companies in the technology sector. And these are private companies. We have public companies approaching us, but we have not yet taken any such projects for now because we want to build more muscle, helping solve the high growth companies' problems right now. All of these customers are in the US. We have, surprisingly, for a company of our size, inbound requests coming from Europe and India at this stage. And we spend $0 in marketing. So looks like the SEO is kind of working for us in some way, and people are discovering us and scheduling these meetings, which I find very surprising, by the way.
That's very cool, especially after this short amount of time, right? So, but what customer sizes do you typically work with, or how many live customers do you have, and what customer sizes do they have?
So these are, as I said, there are early stage companies. I would say like less than 50 employees. They are just starting out, and they need this complete system. So they use us as CPQ and billing. Our larger customers are about like 500, 600 employees. They have already a billing system, and they start using us for the CPQ. And as I said, they are replacing their billing system. So they're usually like Stripe, Chargeify, SaaS Optics, ChargeBee. And we are now hearing more about Zora and Salesforce CPQ as well.
Okay, that's very good, I guess. So then also one last question concerning that. So you already mentioned you also have customer requests coming from Europe and India, but the focus right now I would expect is on North America. Is that correct?
That is correct. And the reason being on the billing side, there are unique invoicing requirements for each country. There is data residency requirements, especially coming from Europe. So these are the things that we are kind of watchful about. Though our platform is designed to support multi-currency, so we have all the good stuff in the platform. But as early customers, we want to make sure we are having a more uniform way of dealing with these customers to begin with.
Great. And how many employees do you have at this time?
We are a team of 20 employees. We are kind of distributed all across the US in different states. My co-founder hails from Montana. I'm from California, of course. He's in Colorado, by the way, right now. And our folks are across Texas, Seattle, and different states. We also have a small team in Dhaka, in Bangladesh, as well.
Okay. Very cool. So now one interesting thing is also investments, right? Did you raise any investment so far? I think there was on LinkedIn a $3 million investment that was mentioned. Tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Well, of course. What we are taking on is a very big task, because as I was saying earlier, companies just do a CPQ or they just do a billing. And here we are saying we will build this platform, which is a CPQ and billing. And so definitely is a venture scale investment that is required. So we raised a pre-seed round last year. We closed this in, I believe, Feb. And at that time, it was just the funding and Jeff and I and this idea. And fast forward now, which I think is about 15 months, we have this product built out. We have the product live. We have customers. We have these inbound requests coming. So we are in a good state, I believe.
Okay. Excellent. So, and on your website, you also offer that Salesforce CPQ and Zora customer can switch from their solution to yours. So now you're inviting some big guys to fight. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So it's not in the sense of inviting big folks to fight. Actually, what we are seeing is very unique. So when we started as a company, we decided not to go after replacement businesses. It just ends up taking some time. But what has happened is with the downturn, companies are putting a tight purse on their expenditure, and they're forced to react for their pricing and go to market. And once they have these systems installed, what's happening is they feel that they have to make more investments for their new go-to-market. And these are costing both time and money. And that's when they start looking out that, hey, this doesn't make sense. Why should I be spending more money for a new go-to-market that we just thought about? So we have actually started seeing an uptick in incoming requests in how can you do this job better than Salesforce CPQ or Zora. And that's the reason we said, well, why not we make this official and help people in a more better way.
Novo CPQ Consulting helps you with all CPQ related questions. For example, we help customers to find the best CPQ solution for their business, and we help customers analyze their current business process to determine if and where CPQ can help. Here it's important to point out that we are 100% independent and always look out for our customers first. This means for us also that we don't get paid by any CPQ vendor for providing them new customers or for any other services. We are focused on our customers and always provide the best available information to them. We also help system integrators to improve their services, and we offer the only CPQ industry subscription that provides monthly CPQ news and trends. We have many other services, so check it out today at novocpq.com. Send me an email to frank.sohn@novocpq.com to learn how we can help you with your CPQ questions, and keep us in mind when you look for 100% impartial CPQ advice. In a prep meeting for this interview, we had the discussion and where you said your focus is more on the P, the pricing capabilities, than on the C, configuration, and Q, quoting capabilities. Tell us why that is and what that means for your customers.
Absolutely. So if you look at our product is both CPQ and billing, but this question is pertaining to just CPQ. So if you look at CPQ, and Frank, you were in this space for a long time, so you would know this. The traditional CPQs were focusing primarily on the C part, which is configuration. Yep. So companies that would install a CPQ, their primary requirement was, look, I'm assembling a truck or a helicopter. We have 10,000 lines of configuration. So I need a product that helps me configure what I'm selling. What's happening now in the SaaS world is early stage companies are saying, I need a CPQ. But their configuration is not complex. So what gives? So what's happening right now is with SaaS, the pricing and packaging is what is more complex. For example, we are talking to this company, they sell 10 usage products, and they want a minimum commit across all these 10 usage products. That's number one. Number two is they want a ramp on this minimum commit on a monthly basis. Now, if you think about configuring this, it's an interesting pricing and packaging problem. And that's what most companies need at this stage. So our innovation in the CPQ is on the P side and not on the C side. So our customers won't be, for example, Caterpillar that needs configuring a truck, for example.
Got it. Then I think also, since we talk about that, we should probably also talk a little bit about your solution architecture and what you use for that, right? So I have no idea if you're using headless or I would expect that you have APIs. And tell us a little bit more about that, and also tell us why you think customers should care about that.
Well, absolutely. So we decided to design this from a first principles basis rather than saying, let's make it an engineering decision first. So we looked at the requirements. So if you look at the requirements of a SaaS company today, their customers are coming from the CRM, they're coming from the web, from within their product, or even a marketplace. So by definition, this product needs to be API centric because you have to connect to a lot of things earlier. In the pre-SaaS world, it was just the CRM. So you could ignore APIs probably, but you cannot ignore APIs. So it is API centric architecture. The second is we are completely microservices based architecture. Now, what that means is typically in the companies today, if you look at quoting and billing, this is not just an IT problem. It's an engineering problem. So there's some sort of a shift left happening. And we have seen this at companies like Intuit, ServiceNow, Atlassian, like big companies where engineering kind of owns these products or projects. Now, what that means is engineers want access to this tenant or sandbox. The billing team wants access to the sandbox so that they can project what the invoices would look like. So the microservices architecture allows us to create these sandboxes or tenants at a very negligible cost to us so that a large set of people inside an enterprise can start testing things. So that's another one. The third is the usage infrastructure. the way we designed our usage infrastructure is such that enterprises can throw a bunch of data in real time and get it metered in real time as well. It requires some engineering kahunas to make that happen, but I consider this as one of the axes of our solution. And then there is webhooks that you need to inform like provisioning and entitlements.
Very cool summary, like it. So then let's talk a little bit more about the current economic situation, right? So in many parts of the world, there are recession fears of energy shortages, high inflation, and so on. Do you see any impact from your customers or prospects based on that situation at this time?
The downturn, like our customer base is primarily in the US, and what we have seen is this downturn is kind of helping us, as I was saying earlier, in the sense that people are if they have a negative ROI on these existing tools in their revenue stack and they're forced to react faster and they don't find it happening, they are now coming to us saying, can you make this faster and cheaper for us? So this downturn is, I would say, in a way helping us.
Got it, and can confirm that some other CPQ vendors see that the same way that you just mentioned. But let me ask another question, which is interesting for every potential customer and every customer, and that's how do you integrate with existing CRM and ERP solutions?
No, absolutely. So our solution is a combined CPQ and billing, so which means we need to look on the left side at the CRM and the right side at the ERP as well. Currently, we have connectors with Salesforce. We're about to launch our connector with HubSpot. From an ERP perspective, it's QuickBooks, and we are looking at NetSuite as well. Though in near future, we would do Xero as well from an ERP perspective.
Concerning HubSpot, you see more interest from customers in that? So you get more requests from that? Or why did you decide to do HubSpot and, for example, not MS Dynamics?
I don't know. This is kind of an oddball, and I'll tell you why. A lot of startups, and even like us, nobody starts with Salesforce as your CRM. I would suspect, because there's a lot of tax that you need to pay to get into that ecosystem. So companies start with HubSpot, but what happens is, and this is something unique that we have seen, the CEOs want HubSpot because it's cheaper, it kind of works, it's a marketing CRM as well. But once you have the head of sales, he or she then decides, look, for some reason, we need to graduate to Salesforce, because they are more accustomed to it, and maybe there's more tooling around Salesforce. And so what we do is when we start talking to the customers, they have a HubSpot. But once we close the conversation, there's like, nah, you know what? We're actually moving to Salesforce. So it's kind of unique that customers are moving away from HubSpot to Salesforce. Though I believe CEOs would love to stay on HubSpot, and just because it's cheaper, it's better. Yeah.
Got it. Then let me ask another question, and that's related to the maintenance of the solution. What should your customers know about maintaining your CPQ solution?
Absolutely. So this was one of the problem statements that we discovered during our customer discovery, that every customer we spoke with, they had like Salesforce CPQ engineers. It's like, why do you need an engineer to configure the system? Why does the system does not do what you want out of the box, especially if the requirements are homogeneous across the B2B SaaS universe? And so the way we've designed the product is there's no sort of programming skills required. It's a no-code tool, and it's very easy to manage. So like the same person can manage both the billing and the CPQ side of the equation.
Okay, it's more for an admin kind of person.
Correct.
Okay, got it. And then give us maybe an example of how a typical project looks for you. How long does it typically take? What kind of people need to be involved so that anyone who's interested gets a better idea on what kind of effort is needed to get it up and running?
Absolutely. So our main point of contact is head of RevOps / Sales Ops in the companies that we work with. Our typical times for implementation are between 2 and 4 weeks. This is the time that we take to understand what they need from a product catalog perspective, how to best set it up in our system, and then also understand the CPQ and the CRM handoff. There's one thing unique, which actually kind of surprising, is the in Salesforce CRM, how you represent your SaaS workflows. For example, you do the initial deal, you have the first quote and first opportunity, then there is amendments and upsells with these new opportunities and a renewal quote and renewal opportunity. It seems every customer is doing a different way. And there should be sort of a best practices around how to run or how to model your SaaS business in Salesforce. And this is something that we found very, very useful for our early customers. So we have sort of a template. We say that this is how you should structure your SaaS business in your Salesforce. And I think it has worked out really, really well in our customers. So we're going to publish it shortly for everybody's benefit as well.
Very cool. And we can have the link for that one also in the show notes. But let me ask one critical question here. So 2 to 4 weeks is a really short time to install something. Does that indicate that the requirements that you would install in this first 2 to 4 weeks are rather basic? Because these requirements in CPQ as well as billing can be fairly complex, right? So in 2 to 4 weeks is a really short amount of time. So was just looking for a little bit more information why you have the 2 to 4 weeks.
Absolutely. So when we talk to bigger companies and during the customer discovery, and the reason I think you are shocked and surprised is because we all know that implementation times for these tools probably run in like 12 to 18 months. And yep. I didn't say weeks, I said months. And I'm saying it's 2 to 4 weeks. So what kind of gives here? So first, our customers are early stage customers. So they haven't made a mess of things so far. So the damage is somewhat contained, I would say, versus if you go to an enterprise company, a large scale company where they have multiple tools and they have a lot of debt in different places, which takes time. So the time is for the discovery. The second part is, and I think which goes to our thesis, is the biggest pain in implementation has been having the disparate tools talk with each other. So a CPQ with a product catalog that doesn't understand the product catalog with another billing system downstream. And so that has been the number one issue. And in our system, since both are integrated, we help solve that critical CPQ to billing handoff problem.
And since you mentioned both products, right? So I think that's also important to understand. So do customers always have to use CPQ and billing from the start, or can they decide to start with one tool and then graduate using the other tool as well?
Right. So our customers that are just starting out, they use our platform as a integrated one from day one for both CPQ and billing. Our later stage customers start off using us as CPQ first. And the reason I say that is in the quote to cash process, everything starts from the CPQ because that's the one that generates the quote. It is the one that stores the data in the CRM. And if things are not settled well there, it won't bode well downstream for your usage or invoicing systems. So our customers, our late stage customers, start using us as CPQ with an eye on using our billing as they go along.
Got it. Makes sense. Now, one question concerning your roadmap. Do you have anything on your roadmap that you think is so interesting that customers should know about it, that customers or potential customers should take that into account for their buying decisions?
Absolutely. So our focus is completely on SaaS workflows. And so, for example, we recently launched a complex usage quoting and billing, the use case I was talking about of minimum commit across multiple usage products and enterprise ramps. In the near future, we are going to launch revenue recognition connectors that I was talking about, and a lot of innovation on billing. I think billing is something that has not seen innovation. I mean, people talk about credit notes, debit notes, refunds. They are kind of required, but nobody has pushed the innovation on billing. For example, having some sort of a rules engine, some sort of having an anomaly detector in invoices. And these are some of the interesting things that customers can expect from us as we go along.
Excellent, but unfortunately, we're coming to the end of this episode, and hence my last question to you is: what's a good way for interested listeners to contact you to follow up on any questions?
Absolutely. So customers can go to our website. There is a scheduled demo thing which people kind of know, and it is on my Calendly. So people can schedule that. They can also email me at my first name at monetizenow.io. We'll also be launching a Slack community on our website so that the whole purpose is for people to start talking to each other. I think one struggle that we have seen in the RevOps community in general is things are not documented well because of this hodgepodge of different tools. People want to know what are the best practices on doing something. And I think one of the goals that I've set for the company is not just on the product side, but helping on education and documentation and learning from each other, which I think is kind of missing when we started in this space.
Very true. Information is key for adoption. So thank you very much, Sandeep, for making time for the CPQ podcast today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Frank.
I'd like to thank everyone for listening and hope you learned something interesting today. If you like the podcast, please go ahead and rate it on iTunes or share it with your friends and colleagues. In the meantime, you can find us online at www.novocpq.com. So long, everyone.